my name's Jordan. I'm a photographer from Vancouver, BC, traveling across Canada in my 1999 Mitsubishi Delica. Come check it out. Welcome to the kitchen. Let me show you. So we just kept it underneath the bed, really because it was the only space that we had. Handles on the side here, and it just pulls out. We just have two single burner butane stoves. They're actually portable. We just have them down by Velcro to kind of keep them in place, but you can bring wherever you want to go. Easy, quick twist and turn. They've been great so far. I think the secret is the magnetic strips. So everything's just kind of magnetic, pops up, stays where it should. We have same thing, magnetic strips for everything. All our cutlery sit there. Pretty good. We got the van completely stock. Like I said, we had 2 rows of seats and just carpet. So we started by just ripping out the carpet, ripping out the seats. We actually ripped out the ceiling as well, kind of cleaned everything out, and then we started at the floor. So we soundproofed the floor and then put on the vinyl kind of tile, just durable tile. From there, we wanted to figure out our bed system. So we researched into a couple different systems that we liked. We ended up going with the bench fold-over system. So we just ordered the hinges online and kind of measured the sizes that we would want. The bed flips. So we just ordered our own foam and material, made it. It was actually pretty cheap. Velcro for everything. So this is how this works. This will flip up with those hinges. Put the 2 feet down. Make sure nothing gets caught. I've ripped out those blinds several times. And down. And then once it's down, you can push it over. And then the bed kind of fits. Lots of room. I'm pretty short, but it fits me perfectly. It's actually quite comfortable. The foam that we got is 4-inch. It's perfect. I'm not hitting the ground. It's pretty cozy sleeps. Okay, so the skylights, they're actually pretty unique on some of the Delicas. They're called crystal lights, I think, I'm pretty sure. And we use them, they're open all the time, essentially, but at nighttime if you want, it's a pretty cool view. You can see the stars. But they're actually automated blinds, so if you ever need to close them, you can just close them up. And then it's completely private, it's dark. We also have the blackout inserts that we put in the windows. It's just completely private. You can stealth camp. It's very cozy, actually. So this is just our little fridge. Literally the only one that we can find that would fit in this space, but it turned out to be perfect. It's just a 12-volt fridge that kind of runs when the car's driving, or if you want it to put it on, it can run through the DC fuse box. When you close it, acts like a cooler, so when you're not driving, and keep things for a couple days anyways. There's like 3 or 4 days there where we're still drinking milk, so it's pretty good. But this is the main suite here. So when we first set out to design this, it was kind of with the idea of kind of mobile photography, right? So we're shooting all day and editing at night. So we had the idea of just kind of keeping our actual color true monitor with us so we can edit some photos on the road. And we designed essentially the shelf just to fit it completely. Runs off my secondary power. It works great. So it's roughly been a month since I left my full-time job. Slowly over a period of weeks, your mind kind of transitions into more of just the freedom that you get from the van and the lifestyle. So you can drive to wherever you want all day, take pictures all day, and then you have a comfortable place to sleep at night. It's very freeing. I feel like my mind is shifted in a way where I'm constantly in the moment. I'm constantly looking at light. I'm constantly looking for new frames or something to shoot. I've traveled from Vancouver, BC. I'm currently in Ontario. My trip kind of took over around 2 weeks. It was a very slow pace, just visiting various parks. Most notably, Jasper was one of my favorite areas. I was there for 3 days, just getting tons of landscape and wildlife photography there. Coming through Banff was, of course, a mainstay. Coming through the prairies was really nice. I got lots of landscape, open shots there. In Manitoba, one of my favorite spots was Riding Mountain Park, which we stayed at. It has a big buffalo reserve there, so tons of photography, wildlife photography. I'm currently in Crownland, Ontario, just outside of kind of the Algonquin area, staying and visiting a few friends and just taking in the scenes. So for our power system, we decided to go with just one single 100 amp hour AGM battery. Essentially, it's just connected to our car battery and it's charged through a charger. So when we're driving, the alternator just charges it up, And then when we park, we have pretty much 100 amp hours to use whatever we want to use. It's been pretty good for just our laptops, essentially, and our monitor. That's it. I'll show you it here. So the battery's here just in the case, like I said. And then we have our inverter, which is a 2000 watt inverter. It's probably overkill, but it does everything we want. So this is our on-off switch with the dimmer. One touch turns it on. If you hold, it'll dim, which is perfect for nighttime, actually. This is just our battery voltage meter. You can kind of check to see what the battery life is and where you're at. And then this is our 120 volts plug-in. So this awning that we have here, it's a Yakima awning. It's one of the medium-sized ones, and pretty much it folds right up and attaches to our roof rack here on the side. It's pretty lightweight, easy to use. It's actually pretty comfortable, and if you're in a pinch and it's raining, it's easy to pull out really quick. So it's a good little pickup. So this is probably the most hippie part of the van. It's a 8-gallon tank, essentially. You just fill it up with lake water wherever you're at. It has a bike pump attachment up top, so you can pressurize it, so you can pump in some air and then it'll spray. It's got an on-off switch. It's good for dishes at night when you're not near any water and you need a quick rinse. It's just heated by solar, and yeah, it's great. So I saved up enough money over 3 years working full-time at Vancouver General Hospital to essentially buy the van with my partner and travel across Canada to focus more on photography. I took a leave from work so I can actually do this throughout the entire summer. Living in Vancouver was kind of a hybrid life for me, so I would work my full-time job, and then on my days off I would kind of get out into the mountains, so I would try to balance the nature work life. Over time I felt that I was probably working harder. I would pick up overtime and I would lose some of my freedom. So I knew that doing something like this was definitely in the cards for me. And now that I'm actually doing it, the transition to having time as opposed to having money is actually something that I can accept. I've been able to kind of go and see and do the things that I want to do. It's just a different way of life. It may not be permanent to be nomadic and living around a van, but I think if you can, you should definitely try to set yourself free for a little while and value your time over money just for a period and see what it does for you. I spent years kind of researching what type of van I would want, watching people on YouTube or following people on Instagram living the life that they live and showing their best moments and showing you how good it could be. But it took one of my actual personal friends who bought a van and started traveling around in it for me to actually realize that, yeah, you can do this and it's feasible and it's incredible. It's not always easy, of course. It's not the most comfortable living, but if you can get over some of those things, it's incredibly freeing, and the time that you have to live essentially is what you get paid for. Appreciating your own time and figuring out what you want to do with that time, as opposed to working in something that you're not completely happy with, and next thing you know 10 years has gone by and you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this, but now's the time to do it. And in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a changing point or a catalyst into kind of my mind and how I think about the future and what I want for myself. You don't need a lot of the comforts and the expensive things. I think there's a way to live a hybrid where you're more in tune with nature, but I think by getting outside, traveling around, you see a lot of different people and you see people doing the same type of thing, and it's pretty inspiring. So if you are in a position to do it and you're thinking about doing it, I think you should. I think that it's not impossible to do. It just takes time, a little bit of research, and go for it. This van is a tool. It's just a tool to live more. And for me, that means just getting outside and being in the moment and appreciating nature and always looking at light and figuring out what will be the next best frame
Having a camera in hand has simply become an excuse for me to get closer to nature. Just the intention to capture a moment, helps pull me deeper into the environment. Being able to travel across the country with the time to see and do the things that are actually important to me is really what the van represents. Ultimately, it's freedom.